I think this typology is useful. However, not the terms and the labels of the typologies. You probably know it. The difference between conversations, unstructured interviews, structured interviews, and semi-structured interviews. It is an important typology. Many people use it, but it's only important for me because it deals with the amount of control by the interviewer. And it's the question behind the typology that's important rather than the type itself. So how does this typology work? Well, consider the topic of the interview or how the questions are formulated, whether they're pre-interview formulated or formulated within the interview, whether the question sequence is fixed before the interview or during the interview thought about, and whether the interviewer behavior is fixed. Well, for a conversation, this is all free. The topic is free because a conversation, especially in ethnography, is what you do while deep hanging out. You walk around, you talk with people, you chat a bit, you eat a little, you drink a little, and you chat a bit. You're on an operation table, and while someone is operating you on your knee, you chat a bit about your research topic and maybe gather some important information. But everything is free. How you formulate your question, the topic of your chat, but your chat can be data. So that's the first type. It's not really an interview because the topic is not fixed. There's not an appointment made. We are going to do an interview. I'm going to interview you. Second type of interview is the unstructured interview. In an unstructured interview, the structure is lacking. So there is a topic, it is prepared, and that's in opposition to a conversation. Students that come up to me and say, well, I'm going to do an unstructured interview, so I do not need to prepare. It's nonsense, absolute nonsense. You need to prepare really well, but maybe not the exact formulation of your question, but you have to know, what do I want to know? You can try it out. Without preparation to do an interview, it will fail, 100%. So these are free, doesn't mean totally unprepared. You have to think beforehand about how to behave as an interviewer, how you organize your questions or organize at least your topics. This is what most people do or say they do, and I'm leaving this for a second because I want to tell you something about this one first. A structured interview is an interview in which everything is fixed. The topic is fixed, the question formulation is fixed, the question sequence is fixed, and the interviewer behavior is fixed. Not many qualitative researchers say they do something like this. Because everything is fixed and there's no place for flexibility, serendipity, and all the good practices, iterative work, and so on. So most researchers, most students say, I'm doing a semi-structured interview, which means the type itself becomes an empty container. Because for some, the question formulation is fixed and therefore it's a semi-structured interview. For others, it's free and therefore it's semi-structured interview. So again, it's not about the label. It is about the amount of control. So rather than telling me or anyone else, any reader, that you did a semi-structured interview, like 99% of the interviewers, you have to tell what was fixed beforehand and what was not. Whether the question formulation, the sequence, or something else was fixed beforehand and other things were not.